The younger folks to put the guns down. There's too many young children with guns for no reason.
You can only do so much, police can do so much, but the justice system got to crack down with it. Because there's too many kids catching cases and getting away with it or thinking they won't get life sentences.
An 18-year-old woman just shot a 13-year-old boy in the head, went back inside, called 911, and told police she heard the shots from behind a closed door.
The younger folks to put the guns down. There's too many young children with guns for no reason.
She almost got away with it, too, until somebody on the other end of a phone call heard everything and blew her whole story apart. But before we get to that phone call, you need to know who this 13-year-old boy was and why his family is still waiting for an explanation that makes any kind of sense. Marcus Ray Reeves Jr. was 13 years old, an 8th grader in the Dallas Independent School District, growing up in the Redbird and Oak Cliff area on the south side of Dallas, Texas.
How's he doing?
He's doing better.
Neighbor Athena Moran says Noah is like a son to her.
He's very blessed to be alive. He hangs out with my sons. My sons, they're all really close together, connected, and been hanging out for about a year now.
By all accounts from people who knew him and loved him, he was just a regular kid doing what regular kids do. His father, Marcus Reeves Sr., said he had always wanted a son he could name after himself, and when Marcus Jr. came along, it felt like exactly the blessing he had been hoping for. He described his son as a happy kid, a blessing to watch grow into a teenager, a boy who was just starting to come into himself, figuring out who he was and who he wanted to become. 13 years old with his whole life ahead of him, and all of it still being built.
His happy kid.
A blessing to watch his child grow into a teenager, but last month, Marcus Reeves Jr. was shot and killed after knocking on someone's front door in Dallas's Redbird neighborhood.
That community, Redbird and Oak Cliff, is where Marcus grew up. These were streets and the same blocks where he went to school and moved around every single day. Nothing about that neighborhood should have been dangerous to him in the way it turned out to be on the night of March 11th, 2026. Now let us talk about the other person in this story, Soraya Sanford Griffin. She was 18 years old at the time and associated with a residence on Pintail Court in that same Redbird area of Dallas.
He fired 2 shots. One was meant for my brother, it missed. The other one, he hit Noah, and he ran off.
Police records and news coverage confirm she is a Dallas resident, but beyond that, there is almost nothing on her publicly available background before this case came up. Social media comments from people who claimed to know her described her as someone who used to ride the same bus, a girl who liked to cut hair and seemed cool. Nothing that would signal what was about to happen. What we know for certain is that the family of Marcus Reeves Jr. did not know her. There was no history between them, no beef or prior drama that anyone has been able to identify. The only link between Marcus and the residence on Pintail Court was that a friend of his lived there, a juvenile who stayed at the home, and that night Marcus went to knock on that door just to see that friend. But there is one detail that makes the story even harder to sit with. A relative of Marcus named Sharon Martin told reporters that in the days before the shooting, neighbors had warned the family that other kids in the area had been making threats, saying they were going to kill him. She said the family heard those warnings, and then a week later, Marcus was dead.
Their backs were turned when the shots were fired.
Witnesses told police a wounded Noah staggered onto Broadway.
I raced down there.
Dana Moran rushed to the scene, saw her friend, and quickly flagged down paramedics passing by in an ambulance.
Whether those threats connect directly to what happened on Pintail Court is something that police have not confirmed publicly, but the family has been asking that question since the arrest. Sharon Martin put it plainly when she said she did not understand why this was done to Marcus and whether anyone else beyond Griffin was behind it. On the night of March 11th, 2026, at around 10:55 at night, Marcus Ray Reeves Jr. made his way to a home in the 7400 block of Pintail Court in the Redbird neighborhood of Dallas. This is a regular residential street near Southampton Road and Interstate 20, the kind of block with single-family homes and neighbors who know each other. Marcus went there to see a friend who lived at that address. He knocked on the front door. Soraya Griffin and the juvenile who lived at the home both came to the door and spoke with him briefly.
I U-turned and I started speeding up to them right beside them, honking at them like I was demanding them to help me, and it was kind of crazy. I just wanted to get him help.
That exchange at the door is still not fully known publicly. No details about what was said, whether there was an argument or anything happened during that conversation has been released by police or prosecutors. What the arrest warrant affidavit documents is only what happened after. According to the affidavit, Marcus was shot outside that front door. He was hit in the head and fell to the ground right there outside the home.
How's he doing?
He's doing better.
Neighbor Athena Moran says Noah is like a son to her.
He's very blessed to be alive. He hangs out with my sons. My sons, they're all really close together, connected, and been hanging out for about a year now.
Dallas police were called, and when officers arrived, they found him on the ground suffering from gunshot wounds. Dallas Fire Rescue came quickly and rushed him to a hospital. He was alive, but the situation was critical.
What could a 13-year-old do or have done to be shot in his head?
On Friday, 18-year-old Soraya Sanford Griffin was arrested by U.S. Marshals and charged with the 13-year-old's murder.
Right away, at the scene, officers sat down with Griffin and the juvenile inside the house and asked them what happened. And both of them gave the exact same story to the police. They said Marcus came to the door, they spoke with him, they closed the door, and then they heard 2 gunshots from somewhere outside. The juvenile said she looked out a window, saw Marcus lying on the ground, and that's when Griffin called 911.
He's very blessed to be alive. He hangs out with my sons. My sons, they're all really close together, connected, and been hanging out for about a year now.
Moran says Tuesday afternoon, Noah, her 2 teens, and another girl were all inside this convenience store on Muriel Street when Noah and an 18-year-old guy exchanged words over a girl.
On the surface, that account is possible. It's the kind of thing that does happen in a neighborhood where violence is not unheard of. But detectives felt something was wrong with the story from the start. They kept the case open and kept working it. And 2 weeks later, Marcus Reeves Jr. was pronounced dead on the morning of March 14, 2026. He became Dallas's 30th homicide of the year. The case was assigned to Detective Joshua Romero, badge number 10009 from the Dallas Police Homicide Unit. Romero has been working violent crime in South Dallas since at least 2018, according to public records. Homicides, shootings, and stabbings across the same Redbird and Oak Cliff area where this happened. He's not the kind of detective who lets his story sit without pulling the threads, and the story Griffin and the juvenile gave him had threads. For 2 weeks, the investigation moved quietly. Marcus's family was sitting in grief with no answers. His father was doing interviews with local news asking what a 13-year-old could possibly have done to end up shot in the head on someone's front step. Then, on March 26, 2026, everything changed. Detectives found a second juvenile witness, someone who was not at the house that night but was connected to someone who was. This witness was on an open video call with the juvenile inside the home at the exact moment the shooting took place. They heard the shots clearly and asked what the noise was, and what they heard back coming from the juvenile at the scene yelling out loud, "Soraya, you shot him." The juvenile at the scene then asked the witness on the call for advice. The witness told them to call 911, and then the call ended. And shortly after that, Griffin called 911 herself and told police the story we already talked about: the closed door, the gunshots heard from outside, the shock of finding Marcus on the ground. That phone call she made to police was her attempt to get ahead of it, to frame herself as a bystander before anyone could say otherwise.
Yeah, he went to knock at the door to see a friend that lives there.
That juvenile and Griffin told police they spoke with Reeves Jr., then closed the door and heard gunshots. Griffin claims Reeves was seen lying on the ground outside, so she called 911. But police have reason to believe she lied.
The problem with that plan is that the video call had already happened, and when detectives found that witness and sat down with them on March 26th, the entire account Griffin had given on the night of the shooting fell apart. Police stated they had reason to believe Griffin lied in her initial statement to investigators, and that witness testimony became the foundation of the capital murder charge. On April 3, 2026, U.S. Marshals arrested Soraya Sanford Griffin, and she was charged with capital murder. The reason the charge reaches that level, the most serious homicide charge in Texas, is partly because the victim was under 15 years of age. Under Texas law, shooting and killing a child under 15 can qualify as capital murder regardless of any other circumstances, and it carries the possibility of a life sentence with no parole. That is the charge sitting on Griffin right now.
The arrest warrant, a witness on a video call with the juvenile in the home heard the gunshots and yelling, hearing, quote, "Soraya, you shot him."
I want the younger folks to put the guns down. There's too many young children with guns for no reason.
The arrest warrant does not explain why the shooting happened or what words may have been exchanged at the front door.
As of early April 2026, Griffin was being held in the Dallas County Jail with no bond amount set. No court date has been publicly announced. The case remains listed as open in Dallas police official records. No weapon has been identified publicly or any physical evidence from the scene has been disclosed. The arrest warrant affidavit itself acknowledges that it is still unclear whether Griffin and Marcus even knew each other, or what words, if any, were exchanged at the door before he was shot.
She killed Marcus. She's a killer.
The boy's family does not know why.
We're really trying to figure it out, and we want answers and we want justice.
According to an arrest warrant affidavit, Reeves Jr. went to the suspect's home off Pintail Court, asking to speak with another juvenile at the home.
Yeah, he went to knock at the door to see a friend that lives there.
What Reeves Sr. is saying there is not just pain talking. He is making a real point that a lot of people in communities like this have been saying for a long time. Young people are getting access to guns too easily, and some of them have the idea that even if they use one, the consequences will not be that serious. Too many cases where somebody young catches a charge and walks. Too many situations where the system moves slow and quiet and nothing changes. He wants the maximum punishment for the woman charged with killing his son, and he wants the courts to actually follow through on it in a way that makes the next person think twice. This case is not isolated either, and that is something worth sitting with for a minute, because this keeps happening in the same part of Dallas to the same kind of kids, and the story keeps ending the same way. Back in January of 2023, in Dallas's East Oak Cliff area, an 11-year-old boy named DeEvan McFall was shot and killed at an apartment complex on Southern Oaks Boulevard, and the circumstances around his death hit close enough to Marcus's story that it is impossible not to put them side by side. DeEvan was not involved in anything that day. He was not in a fight, not part of any conflict, not even a target. What happened was that two young girls got into a physical fight in the parking lot of the Signature at Southern Oaks apartment complex, and at some point during that fight, a 14-year-old girl pulled out a handgun and started firing. DeEvan was nearby, standing close to the situation because it involved his sister, and a bullet hit him. He was not the intended target. He just happened to be there, in his own neighborhood, in the middle of the afternoon at around 2 o'clock, and that was enough for his life to end. DeEvan was a 5th grade student in the DeSoto Independent School District, and by every account from the people who knew him, he was the kind of kid who made a room feel different when he walked into it. His family described him as a natural athlete who was the captain of his youth football team, somebody who played basketball too, a boy with a big smile and real talent and a future that was just getting started. He had 2 siblings. He was 11 years old, and his mother, Vashante Settles, was standing right there in that parking lot when it happened. She watched her son get shot. She said in an interview afterward that she would never get over it, that she was never going to be able to unsee what she saw. She talked about how innocent he was, how he did not deserve any of what happened to him, and she made a direct appeal that stayed with people. She asked the community to take something from her son's death so that it would not just be a loss, but a lesson. She said, let his story save somebody else's child. The 14-year-old girl who fired the gun was arrested, charged with murder, and placed in the Henry Wade Juvenile Justice Center in Dallas. Because she was a juvenile, the case stayed entirely in the juvenile justice system, and the public never got a full account of what sentence she received or what ultimately happened to her in court. That lack of public information is part of what Reeves Sr. is pointing at when he talks about young people thinking they can pick up a gun and walk away from it without serious consequences. Because from the outside, looking at cases like DeEvans, that is sometimes exactly what it looks like. Marcus Ray Reeves Jr. was laid to rest through Golden Gate Funeral Home in Dallas. His obituary was still being updated when this story was written. A memorial page for him on gunmemorial.org had over 140 candles lit by people across the country who never met him but felt the weight of what happened to him anyway. He was 13 years old. He went to knock on a door in his own neighborhood. That is the whole story of why he was standing on that step the night he was killed. No beef, no drama, no reason in this world. And the person charged with taking his life tried to walk away from it clean by picking up a phone and telling a story she had already made up. But somebody else had a phone too, and that call was still going, and everything she said came apart the moment detectives found that witness and sat down with them. Put the guns down. That's what Marcus's father is asking. Not as a slogan, not as something to say because it sounds right, but because right now there is a 13-year-old who is not here anymore, and the only reason he's not here is because someone decided that a gun was the answer to whatever was happening at that front door, and it wasn't. Have you heard of a similar situation? Drop your thoughts in the comments and let us know what you think. Click on one of the cards on your screen to see more videos like this. See you in the next one.